So you might be wondering, why the F did they start a podcast?
What the F are they going to talk about?
And most importantly, what the F is a Moxie? Well, grab your coffee, get comfy. We're about to break it all down for you. Another marketing podcast.
We swore we were never going to do this.
But here we are.
Welcome to Behind the Brand, the podcast for small business owners and aspiring entrepreneurs who are ready to start strong, stand out, and stay bold. Hosted by the powerhouse marketers at Moxie Creative, we're bringing you behind the scenes as we explore what it takes to build and grow a memorable brand. Ready to get behind the brand? Let's dive in.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I am the owner of Moxie Creative and one of your co-hosts. I'm here with Taylor and Isabella. They are also Moxies. Moxie Creative is a full-service marketing agency. We're in St. Cloud, Minnesota. We help a variety of businesses with branding and marketing and all that great stuff.
Yeah. Like Kelly said, my name is Taylor. I am an account manager and copywriter here at Moxie Creative. I have been working in marketing for 10 years. I will have... No. 10 years. 2015 is when I started working in marketing, and it's 2025. So, yeah, 10 years, which feels crazy. I worked in-house before I came to agency life, and I can wholeheartedly say I'm never looking back.
I'm Isabella. I'm a social media specialist and account coordinator at Moxie Creative. So I have been working in the marketing industry for 1.5 years now. I've been with Moxie since our doors opened. Mm-hmm. And before that, I actually worked in a sales role selling marketing technology, and that was what made me realize I don't want to sell it. I want to do it. I want to be part of it. So now I'm here today. I'm Gen Z, so I bring that kind of Gen Z fresh perspective to our agency.
I'm offended because I'm in my 31st year and I try to stay fresh, but that's why I got these two.
You stay fresh.
I'm fresh in a whole
stay
different
fresh.
way.
And
yes.
we learn so much from you. You have so much expertise that you bring to the table.
Well, right back at you. Learning things every day from the two of you. So why did we jump on the podcast bandwagon? We talked about, we don't want to do a podcast unless we have something to offer. I thought it was silly, and then now here we are.
Yeah.
So what are we doing?
Yeah, so we are talking, a lot of what this podcast is going to be is about how we build brands and what the brands we have built mean to the clients that we work with. We, like Kelly said, we're based in St. Cloud, Minnesota, which is a lot of people would look at like the communities that we live and work in and serve are rural communities. We're about an hour from the Twin Cities metro. Mm-hmm. And within that hour, 60-mile span, the mindset and the goals and the way that people run businesses and the businesses that are here are different than what you're seeing in Minneapolis. So we work with a different clientele than maybe what some of these bigger agencies in Minnesota are working with. That is so special for us.
Right. I think when some people think that's, and I can speak for myself 15 years ago when I started with my own agency, thinking, we want clients from Minneapolis. But what we soon found and embraced is that the work is the same. But what's special about our area is there's a lot of entrepreneurs. There's a lot of small businesses. And I'm not sure that I would have been able to start or been as successful in a different community. I feel like St. Cloud really embraces that small business mentality and a lot of family-owned businesses here. And I think it has a unique culture. And so we embrace that. We help these businesses, be professional and brand and market their businesses, just like everyone else.
Yeah. Big business, small business, it doesn't matter the size. Like, you deserve to have a brand that you are so proud of and that is so inherently you. And one of the things that we do here is just push our clients to make these like big, bold decisions and stand out, but like not being too showy, but just really, like I said, be so yourself.
I think one time we kind of coined the phrase of we make the little guys look big. And we don't mean that as, pretending to do something they don't. But just like you said, everyone deserves a great brand. And we're really humble. And that German Catholic heritage here in central Minnesota can make us not want to be showy or fancy or even talk about our strengths. But that's what we help our clients do every day.
Yeah, so ultimately the point of this podcast and why we want to start is that we want to be able to inspire the people listening, whether you're an entrepreneur, solopreneur, or you run a small business. We want to help you think big, stand out, and grow and be bold. And that's ultimately the point of what we're doing. So, going behind the scenes of the brands that we've worked on, but also getting deep with those clients and helping inspire people through their own journey with this as well.
Right. We're not going to just talk about branding and marketing. We're
No.
going to talk about all the things that go into running a business and some of our own experiences of running our businesses. How about, how we've grown, how we've had to pivot, how we've had to tear it down and build it back up, and all those great things that make business ownership
Kelly,
special.
you kind of brushed over this a little bit, but like Moxie is not your first business that you started.
It's not. No.
So you know what makes a successful business, and you know what decisions are good and what are bad, and you've been around the block. So there's a lot of
31 years.
yeah.
Yes,
There's a lot of tips and just really sage advice that I feel like all of the Moxies learn from you every day, and like there's so many great tidbits of things that I think that you can bring to the table and share with other people. So this podcast will be a mix of talking about what we do here and then how we can, maybe help you and give you some great like business insight.
And I think what makes a business successful can be different for each business owner, right? I mean, what is important to me and how I run the business can be very different than how someone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'd love if we could just maybe like a little bit talk about ourselves and talk about Moxie and how we came to be.
Okay.
We maybe don't need to get into all the nitty gritty details, but
Okay, should I start?
yeah, I think you should.
Okay. Well, I had an agency with a business partner before Moxie. That business partner decided that she wanted to do something different, so we split. July of 2023, 4 of us from Gaslight came over and started Moxie Creative, and we thought that would be our team. So we picked the word Moxie because that means, grit and fortitude and spunk, and we felt like, that fit us. That's what we had. We didn't expect the split, but we embraced it, and we launched with a fresh brand, we thought, and, went from there. Before we even opened the doors, though, we brought on Isabella and Mo, who were not in the plan, but both people that I knew and loved, and then we launched with 6 people. It's only been a year and a half, but prior to that, I had owned an agency for 14 years. Prior to that, I had worked in an agency for 12, and so we're going to add up all those years again to 31. But we are doing some things different with Moxie. I mean, learning what I've learned, what works, what hasn't, doing a lot of the same things, doing some things different. I feel at my juncture in my career, I am maybe done proving myself and more like, let's have some fun. And I think that embodies Moxie. Like, we don't need to worry about every little thing. We got this. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And having been kind of on that ride with you at the previous agency for a few years, like I can totally attest to like this is fun. The things that we're doing them because we love them. Mm-hmm. And every day we're just having like a blast with each other. Yeah, Mo and Isabella maybe like weren't in our plan, but I cannot
Happy accidents.
Yeah, like we would not like be the Moxies without them.
No.
Like, they totally completed like our kind of core 4, and now it's the core 6.
I know, and I take all the credit because
You
it's
should.
2023, and I'm like, dude, we should like learn about social media because I
Yeah.
think it's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
And I think we should offer our clients that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, those who don't know this, Kelly's daughter is one of my best friends, and I had been wanting to get into social media management. So I'd gotten laid off from my sales role, and I said that if I get laid off from this role, which I was seeing it all over LinkedIn, people in my industry were getting laid off, I want to go into social media management. And so I had talked to Maya, and I had told her, like, oh, maybe I could, like, help with some social media, because I feel like there's just so much potential. I'd seen the things that they were doing, and that's absolutely what we did. Like, I came in and learned so much from everyone here and was able to, like, jump into it, and...
Yeah, you started part-time, and then in 3 months you were full-time.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'll come on full-time.
She notified me she was ready to go full time.
Yeah, I said, okay, I'm going to go on a vacation for a week, and when I come back, let's go full-time. maybe.
Yeah, but honestly, we really weren't managing clients' social media. It was just kind of something we stayed away from because we didn't feel like we had the capacity to do it well.
Yeah.
But we were getting asked more and more about it, and Isabella's being very humble, but she came and pitched me, with this whole proposal, and I'm like, okay, whatever, I could use another body, and so I'm so happy that we took that leap. It wasn't a very big leap, and now she's just showing us every day, and you're doing more than social media. I mean, you're helping us. You're the brains behind this podcast and doing so much.
Literally.
Yeah, all these.
This
other
podcast
things.
would not be coming at you today as well as it is without Isabella.
Right.
No, that means a lot. I feel like something I'm trying to embrace is that I think it's okay to say that some things kind of come naturally. Like, obviously, when you come into a space like working at Moxie, like I feel like I've come into a space where I have learned so much about my own creativity, about myself, and then that shows into my work as well. But I do feel like kind of tying in with, like the brand strategy behind this podcast, or with clients that I do their social media, where I have to do brand positioning and strategy on their social media, that is something that I feel like comes a little bit more naturally for me. And I feel like what's awesome about our team of 6 in our agency is that we all kind of have these like little bit of like natural abilities, and we really go into them. And I think that that's really special.
Yeah.
Right, and we want our team members to lean into that. Okay, so we didn't mention this, and it doesn't really matter, but Isabella did not go to school for this. I don't care. When she says it comes natural to her, it sure does, and she's teaching us a thing or two every day, right, Taylor?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you're just born with it. I feel like I do a lot of things just out of intuition too, and that reminds me of Isabella. And
Yeah, 100%. And it's so funny that you brought this up, because last night when you had sent us, kind of what you wanted to talk about in this podcast episode, and it says here, Taylor, what does Moxie mean to you? And so I'm like in the shower, like, okay, what does it mean to me? Trying to think about it. And I really came to like exactly what you're saying. Like for me, and I feel like stepping into the role that I have stepped into here at Moxie, like it is being just so confident in my abilities. I'm
Authentic.
and I'm not saying that like I don't have imposter syndrome some days, and like there are some situations where I'm like, I don't know if I'm capable of doing this, but like I'm like, damn it, I have Moxie, like, and I have the Moxies behind me, like, I don't know, like, just
I hope
into all of my abilities.
And I hope I empower you guys to do that.
You
like,
totally
come on,
do.
like we can do it. Like we don't know how to do it. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
You
right?
totally do. You
Yeah.
totally do. And I know, in our previous agency life, like, I was very, very green, but
You were a baby.
yeah, I was a little baby. But I do think coming over to Moxie, like, the whole vibe,
Shift, yeah.
it just completely changed. And it
then
also
some
might
fresh
be like,
blood.
like I turned 30 this year, like that might, I don't know. I crossed
was
over
it.
into knitting.
Yeah.
Truly,
Very
I think
mature.
30, I'm not saying I'm very mature, but 30 was like a huge turning point for me, where I'm
It
just
is.
like,
You're not in your 20s. There's no more effing around.
yeah,
now.
and like I'm just like not doubting myself anymore. And like when I
Good.
think about like what like Moxie like is, and like how it has like infiltrated my personality,
Yeah.
like that is it. Like I'm just so capable and like
I
confident.
take a
and I
little
love
credit
it.
for that.
You
yeah.
should. You
Yeah.
totally should.
Sorry. I
No.
apologize to your husband right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely take credit for it. Even like with my parents, they've talked to me and they always talk about you, Kelly, and how amazing it is that you've built all of this, and that not only did you do this, you did it even with Gaslight, and you've given us like a very safe space to create. And I think that is where a lot of our success comes from, and it's shown me just like so much about myself, and that is really like a huge thanks to you.
Oh, thank you. Go on.
Yeah,
More.
go on to
More. Go
and not
on.
just a safe space to create, but like also a safe space to like make mistakes and ask for questions, and to understand that like
Spell check.
that we're all learning together, because like you said, like Isabella's teaching us things every day. I hope that I'm teaching you things. You're teaching me things. The designers are teaching me things. We're sitting here yesterday around our conference table talking about, okay, how can we better help Michael with things? Like, what can we be doing better as account managers? Like we are still, and this, I think, was one of our hardest things that we had, our hardest hurdle that we had to get over in the first year, was realizing that we are a new old business.
Right.
Like,
We're not new at this, but our name is new, and so
Right.
we had to kind of
And-
let people know what we were going to
and
do.
even though 4 of us came in from a previous agency together, everything changed, and for the better. We changed the things that we wanted, we made
Captain.
the difference, but we're still, we're only a year and a half in. July will be 2 years, and like we're still learning things, and that is totally okay.
Well, I think that you have to keep learning,
Yeah,
and
right.
adjusting and pivoting or whatever you want to
Yeah,
do.
and
You know,
taking on new things, like starting a podcast.
Yeah. And I know sometimes I'll be, we'll get done with a project. I'm like, okay, we're not doing that again. And it's like, I'm not saying we did anything wrong. It's just like, I can just see like, okay, let's make our lives easier. And
Yeah.
It's not that I'm disappointed. It's just like, okay, let's try not to be like that. And it was probably my fault, or whatever. But what I love is, you said a safe space, is that we all really care about each other. And that's hard to explain. Like, we are interviewing for a new Moxie, which is, it's terrifying. I don't know if I told you that or not.
I just found out yesterday.
Okay, good. I talked to everyone but you.
I
I'm
talked
always
to
the
her, don't
last to
worry.
know. I'm always the last to know everything.
I know. What's the joke? And that's scary, but like exciting too. Like,
Yeah.
Because, managing a creative team is much different. I mean, we're not corporate, we're not selling widgets, we're not like, okay, just put in some overtime. I mean, we get burnt out, we're trying to be creative every day. And so, I mean, we actually even work kind of a reduced schedule. People are like, oh, you have you must just work all night long. Nope, about 36 hours and we're tapped out. We close for 2 weeks over Christmas. I mean, that doesn't mean that we don't work hard. We're just trying to work smarter too.
Yeah. Well, I think
right.
the nature of a creative brain is that, like, even though the laptop is closed, like, you're still thinking about things.
For sure.
I am constantly thinking about this project or that project, or like how cool this would be for a client, or this would be a really great idea for Moxie, and I mean, it's in like all the little pockets of my day that I'm thinking about these things.
For me, it's tasks I forget. Like middle of the night last night, I emailed myself an email of I forgot to order something. Because I'll just forget,
Yeah. My notes are just full of just random thoughts. Like,
yeah. So what we're trying to teach the newbie here, Isabella, is that you got to stop working. And try to, like, this is good, you need to stop. It's not perfect, and it's because you can work, you love it so much, and that's I think all of us, you 100%. Love it so much you can work, and so parameters are important. So I mean, someone is going on vacation, I won't mention who, Mo, and he is going to be gone for 2 weeks. He's like, I can work a little bit down there. I'm like, no, please don't. Like,
just take the time off.
Okay, that's why I'm going to hire someone. Like, it stinks you're going to be gone, but we need breaks too.
Yeah.
And I'll say that's one thing in my 30 years of being in business, things are a lot different because we were used and abused, even as creatives. I mean, that's just how the workplace has changed that way, but and needs to.
Oh, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
So we've been kind of saying, if we use the word Moxies, that's what we call ourselves. Is that obvious? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It started when we were just starting. I think, Taylor, you start writing our website and you just start calling, or maybe a social media post, and you start calling us the Moxies, what is a Moxie? Well, it's us. It means nothing. It means everything, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. And
it's just funny.
It's just continued. Like, I post a lot on LinkedIn, and I took a quick little selfie when we were setting up this morning and said, like, doing something big, bold, and a little scary with the Moxies today. Like, any guesses? It just is, like, so naturally rolls off the tongue. Yeah. And we did kind of brush over this, but when we picked the name, it was so random. Like, it was nothing, like, there was not a lot of strategy behind it. It was
I picked it. I had strategy.
But it was like through a text thread.
That's how we do things, though. I mean, it was intentional. Yeah. But it was like when everyone said, that's how we do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right? Text thread, or just, what do you think? Okay, when we all agree, we know it's the right thing.
Yeah.
It was the only one we agreed on.
It was a modern day name storming session.
Yeah, that's how we do our best work.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, I agree. And I feel like, so we kind of also touched on already what Moxie, I feel like, means to us. I don't know if there's anything else you guys wanted to add with that, but I feel like for me, I was really thinking about this, and it reminded me of something, and I'm going to be brutally honest here, and no one can get mad. Obviously, I mentioned this, I've started working at Moxie since day one, when it was Moxie. 6 months prior, though, Gaslight existed. And I remember this was when I wanted to get into marketing, and I looked up Gaslight because I was like, oh, it would have been cool if I did go to college. I maybe would have interned, at Gaslight, and that would have been something that I did. Yeah. And I remember coming onto the website, and I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like, they do traditional marketing, but I feel like they don't do this out of the box stuff that I want to do, really bold, out there, whatever. And I didn't even remember that I had this thought until the other day. And then I remember coming into the office right before Moxie was starting, and I was coming in to meet you guys, and Kelly pulled out the business cards of Moxie, and I saw them, and I was like, this is a complete 360. And not that you guys weren't doing that cool work as Gaslight, but I just didn't have that perception there. But with Moxie, just seeing the business cards, I was like, this is a 360. This is the work where it's like, not only are we gonna put awesome work out there, but the name Moxie is our dedication and our commitment to making bold creative and making sure that we make work for clients that make them stand out. That's why we're here. And so that's
it's
what it
almost
means.
like we knew something about branding.
Yeah. Right. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
not something.
Not that we had a lot of time.
Yeah.
Just like our clients.
Yeah, exactly. But you saying that, it's like, okay, this is a clear, you can clearly see how a brand can.
It connects,
yeah.
right? And it should.
Because
I'm glad.
The stuff that we were doing when we were the previous agency, I mean, we're doing that stuff here too. I think we're doing it bigger, better, louder, all these things.
I think it's kind of we were doing that for 14 years, and we probably needed a little refresh there, not the brand, but just, you kind of get comfortable and things. So I think our challenge will be to stay Moxie, right?
Right,
Yeah.
Instead of
right.
be like, oh, we're tired, we're
Yeah,
old, or
yeah.
I don't have any energy to have Moxie. You know, we're gonna have to keep it up,
Yeah.
right?
Well, we've been doing this for a year and a half, and we're, kind of ripping down our website and redoing it.
Yeah,
already,
I meant
so-
in general. And
Yeah,
right.
but-
you have to keep improving.
Yeah, exactly. Keep being
Keep the
better.
fire.
Keep the fire
Keep
going.
the fire burning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring in those fresh perspectives.
Right. So I'm hoping in some other episodes we're going to introduce the other Moxies.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'd
Right.
love to. Yeah. So
we're client facing and we're used to talking. And if you haven't noticed, we love to talk.
Yeah.
The other three, not so much.
Yeah. Well, Mo.
Yeah,
Mo
I
does.
mean, but, you know.
Brittany and Michael, they're a little bit more
Yeah, introverted on the other
more
side.
reserved.
Yeah.
So
So we'll make them talk. At least an intro.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think it would be fun because, this podcast is called Behind the Brand, but we
Behind the brand.
Yeah, behind the brand
Are the Moxies.
Yeah. We do so much here. We are full service, so we do websites, we do trade show setups, we do
Digital.
brochures, digital. There's packaging. Like there's so much that we do here. So I'd love to hear from the other voices at
Yeah,
our
their
office,
perspective.
and share their
'Cause
things.
we're all
and-
branding
and the
experts.
things, that they're all that really get them excited. Like I love websites. Isabella loves social. I don't know if Kelly loves digital or if she just has to do it.
I love bookkeeping.
Yeah, Kelly loves loves making spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely want to get them into the mix too. And
Cool.
of course, it won't just always just be us. We're definitely going to bring in a huge
clients.
premise of this is bringing in our clients and giving them
Maybe some vendors.
Yeah, maybe some vendors, but giving other people that are connected to us in the Moxie sphere a platform to talk about what they do and why they do it. And I think that's what's going to be really fun.
Great. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
We were so afraid, and now look at us.
I
know,
know.
now
We're
here.
doing
I
it.
don't wanna
It's-
stop.
We've got Moxie.
We've totally got Moxie. Absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I feel like we covered who we are, what Moxie Creative is all about. I feel like we've also covered kind of like what you can expect from this podcast, but I don't know, is there anything else that we really should show people what they can expect from this and hearing from us?
I don't.
I feel like we've said a lot.
I think we're about done.
Yeah, I think we
got to leave some for the other episodes.
That's what I'm
Right.
saying. Like, I think
The
we really did
need
it.
a cliffhanger. Dun dun dun.
So now let's say next podcast episode that's going to come out. What can people expect from that? We had,
I think they're going to expect to hear from a savvy business owner that we helped.
yes,
Yeah.
To be determined.
To be
she is
determined.
very inspiring. So you're not going to want to miss that.
No, it's gonna be a great episode. You're gonna
Yeah,
learn a lot.
It's our goal to have different types of businesses
Yeah.
on and different background stories and
Yeah, absolutely. So feel free to follow along and stay tuned for what happens next on Behind the Brand.
Bye.
thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Behind the Brand. If you like this episode, share it with a friend. If you didn't, share it with an enemy and make sure to leave us a 5-star review. To stay connected, follow us. Links to our socials are in the show notes below.